We get at 10 with some breaking news out of Georgia, where investigators are revealing new details about the deadly school shooting that took place about 40 miles northeast of Atlanta. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Montecalvo.
And I'm Shannon Heggie. Authorities identified the 14-year-old suspected shooter as Colt Gray, a student at the high school. Law enforcement and the governor just held a press conference a short time ago. Kayla Fish begins our team coverage of this tragedy with what else we're learning at this hour. Kayla?
Well, Shannon and Mike, the FBI in Atlanta says local authorities had contact with the suspect last year. The FBI had notified the local sheriff's deputies who interviewed him and his father about online threats to commit a school shooting and hunting guns they found in their home. But while this teen was on authorities' radar, the FBI said at the time there was no probable cause for arrest.
This is everybody's worst nightmare. And I just want to offer my sincere condolences and our thoughts and prayers to the families that have lost loved ones. For those that are injured and continuing to fight, these are our neighbors, these are our friends, and this community is hurting today.
A vigil was held in Winder, Georgia tonight for the 4 people killed in today's attack at Appalachia High School. Authorities just identified them as 2 14-year-old students named Mason and Christian and 2 teachers, Richard and Christina. Investigators say 9 other victims, most of them students, were taken to area hospitals, but they are expected to survive. The suspect, accused of gunning down his fellow classmates, will be booked tonight, charged with murder and tried as an adult. Police say he used an AR platform-style gun in the attack, but how he got that weapon into the school is among the questions investigators are now looking to answer. Students described the moments they heard gunshots and ran for shelter.
And I heard people yelling. I heard this man yelling, for someone to get down and put their hands in the air and stuff like that. Then it went quiet. More shots went off. I just got all shaky and I got really scared. And I just kind of we went into the uniform room and everybody was crowded in there, and as soon as I got in there I just kind of started crying, and I was in there praying.
Now, during tonight's press conference, investigators said police were notified about this shooting via an alert system that allows teachers to press a button on an ID when there's an active situation. We're told it's been in place for a week now. Schools in the county will remain closed for the rest of the week. Live in studio tonight, I'm Kayla Fish, 12 News.
Kayla, thank you. And our in-depth coverage continues now. As you've seen in the video from today's shooting, law enforcement descended quickly on the school when reports of a shooter first came in. But it's the officers who were already in those school hallways that likely prevented an even larger tragedy. Lauren Brill spoke to our law enforcement analyst and former superintendent of the Rhode Island State Police about the impact of those school resource officers and preventative measures he says schools everywhere need to be taken.
Well, Stephen O'Donnell tells me that the quick response time of school resource officers was essential and saved many lives.
A frightening scene out of Georgia, a 14-year-old student fatally shooting 4 people and injuring many at Appalachia High School. 12 News law enforcement analyst Stephen O'Donnell tells me in this case, the school resource officers played a vital role.
They engaged the suspect pretty quickly and he surrendered. By all accounts, the school resource officers arrested this person. They had probably every right to use deadly force and neutralize that suspect. They did not.
O'Donnell says looking into this student's background and motive will help law enforcement in schools around the country identify warning signs, preventing another tragedy.
And then his motive, why he did it. So a transient threat is the things that a 14-year-old would talk about all the time with his friends. Sometimes they turn into substantive threats where it's actionable.
O'Donnell says educators need to make sure that schools are secure, starting with school resource officers or metal detectors. And having a lockdown plan in place is crucial. In Georgia, students were brought to the football stadium.
In school safety, we teach them the lockdown. We call it run, hide, fight. And each situation is different when you teach the kids what to do, particularly run. If you have an active shooter, the best thing to do is flee.
Now, when it comes to talking to students about this school shooting and easing concerns, the Rhode Island Department of Education has resources for how to have these conversations. We have more on WPRI.com. I'm Lauren Brill, 12 News.